Good morning and welcome to Manhood Monday with Coach Ellis. Hey, this is the day I spend just a few minutes with men and the women who love them talking about man issues. How to be a better husband, how to be a better father, how to be a better provider, how simply to be a better man. So we're starting a new series called The Myths of Manhood. And the first myth I want to deal with, we have a lot of ideas about men and manhood, but I want to deal with probably one of the most prevalent myths about manhood, and that is men are not emotional. Now, come on, guys. Let's be brutally honest. We're very emotional folks. In fact, the most important part of us is centered in our emotion. This is called our ego. We want our ego stroked. We need our ego satisfied. And that's about making us feel good about ourselves. That's why when she compliments us, we stick our chest out. Or when we know she's coming by, we stand just a little bit taller. We like her to tell us how great of a dresser we are, or how good of a man we are, or how great of a lover we are, because that satisfies our ego. And that, my friends, is about emotion. The reason people think that men are not emotional is because we don't spend a lot of time talking about our emotional. Get a group of women together, give it 15 minutes, and there's going to be some conversation about how they feel. Guys, we tend not to talk about necessarily how we feel unless it's about anger or pride. But when it comes to being vulnerable and talking about love and affection, we don't really talk about those things because they're not quote unquote manly. So here's the issue. If we really want to be expressive in our emotions, there are some things that we simply need to have. So if your girlfriend or your wife or someone nearby, help them understand, in order for you to talk about the emotions in your life other than fear and pride, other than anger and pride, you have to have a safe place to do this. And that safety is not just a physical safety, but an emotional safety place. Let me tell you something, guys. If she ever has laughed or ridiculed at an idea that you had, you are less likely to begin to express your dreams and hopes. If she's ever laughed, criticized, or been critical of your physical prowess, your lovemaking skills, you're less likely to talk about your physical desires. If she has been critical or less than understanding about how you want to move your career, you're less likely to talk about your hopes and your dreams with her. Now, understand, you will talk about your hopes and dreams. You will talk about your feelings. You will talk about those things in which she is ridiculed and she is made fun of. You'll find somebody else to talk to them about, because as men, we will get our needs met. Let's understand this very clearly. As human beings, we will get our needs met. The issue is whether or not we are strong enough to power through the disappointment that we have and emotion, the hurt that we have and emotion, that we suffered at the hands of our wife or our girlfriend, our loved one, because they did not respond the way we wanted them to respond. Again, that's very emotional. So let's not pretend we're not emotional. Let's own up to it, and then let's start having the discussions on how to deal with me being emotional. It doesn't mean I'm crying every 10 minutes. It doesn't mean that I'm incapacitated, that I cannot operate well. It simply means that I am emotional. Come on, guys. If we play sports, we get hyped up. Emotion. We get determined and we dig in. That's all about emotion. There's a reason we get pep talks in the locker room. That's about emotion. We get emotion. There's a reason why we love to see Ric Flair come out with his music, styling and profiling, because as he walks out with a sense of pride, we all say, wow, we can do that. That is emotion. We are emotional folks, but we don't talk about it. So you have to help your loved one understand you need a safe place to be emotional. You need to be able to go to her and say, I'm struggling in this area. And she has to say, how can we deal with this? And a lot of women, what they will do is they'll say, well, what's wrong with me that you're struggling in this area? And when she does that, we tend to pull back, because now Instead of talking about our needs, we're now protecting her and her feelings. And while that is our responsibility as men, it doesn't help us express our emotions. So we have to find a way to have this conversation with her. I need to be emotional. I need you to hear me. I need you to listen to me. I don't need you to respond. I don't need you to react. I need you to hear. One of the reasons we also are not very good at talking about our emotions is that for men, we success for us are things we can measure. How I can measure how much the paycheck is. I can measure whether I got an award or not. I can measure the ending of a project. I can measure the fact we got married. I can measure yes or no or degrees. I can measure that. What I cannot measure is how much I love you. What I cannot measure is how much I miss you. What I cannot measure are those deep-seated emotional places. And let me tell you, when we start talking about that, she wants it quantified. You know, I love you so much, baby. Well, how much? Well, I don't know. I just know I love you so much. I don't know how much is how much. It's yes or no. I do or I don't. Is you is or is you ain't. I do. That's all I got. And so when she asks how much, we tend to pull back because now we're not sure how to answer, and now we're in an emotional, unsafe place. It doesn't mean her question is wrong. It means that we have not learned how yet to have that conversation. So that's okay. If we admit it up front and we become vulnerable, emotional, and say, I don't have the answers. I'm just expressing you the best way I can. So that when she asks for details and you don't have them, it's okay to say, sweetheart, I don't have those details. I just know this is how I feel. She will process her feelings differently than you, and that's the power of couplehood. So this manhood myth about not being emotional is simply a lie. It's a myth. It's a falsehood. We are emotional. We get excited. We get sad. You know, we have all the exclamations from the Schoolhouse Rock. You know, are we happy? Hooray! Or sad? You know, we got all those things going on. So as great men, we learn how to express them in a way that allows us to release them. She learns us well enough to know how to provide us a safe place to give them to her without trying to measure them, quantify them, or qualify them. And then we're able to rise above this place of not being emotional because, come on, guys. I like adoration. I don't like being tolerated. I want to be appreciated. That's a emotional place. So enjoy your emotions. Embrace your emotions. Don't be run by emotions, but understand them and use those emotions to get you to the place you need to be at. Hey, so look, you got questions or comments, you got ideas about being emotional, leave them down below. Hit me up on Facebook at Coach Ellis Crum. Send me an email, coach@elliscrum.net, or go on the website, elliscrum.net. So until next week, have one fabulous manhood. We really are emotional Monday. God bless you, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.